Have you ever sat in a room full of people and felt completely alone, not invisible? People could see you. People were talking to you, laughing with you, perhaps even telling you things they had never told anyone else. And still, underneath all of it, there was this quiet distance, this glass wall between you and the rest of the world, this feeling that no one could quite reach you, and you could not quite reach them. Hi, friends. Welcome back to English with Moon. Tonight, I want to talk about loneliness. Not the simple kind, the kind that comes from being physically alone, but the more complicated kind, the kind that lives inside connection. Because I think this is one of the least talked about human experiences, and one of the most common. There are two kinds of loneliness. The first kind is simple. You are alone and you do not want to be. You want company, conversation, the presence of another person. This loneliness has a clear solution. Find someone. But the second kind is harder. You are surrounded by people, friends, family, colleagues, perhaps even a partner who loves you. And still, you feel something is missing. Still, there is this sense of not being fully known, of performing a version of yourself rather than simply being yourself. This is existential loneliness, and it is older than any of us. The philosopher Blaise Pascal wrote about it in the 17th century. He said that all of humanity's problems come from the inability to sit quietly in a room alone. But I think he was also pointing at something else, the discomfort we feel when we are fully alone with ourselves, the way we fill every moment with noise, activity, other people, not because we enjoy it, but because silence confronts us with something we are not ready to face, the loneliness that is already inside. I want to tell you about someone named Naomi. Naomi had, from the outside, a full life, a large family she loved, a job she was good at, a social life that kept her busy most evenings. She was one of those people who was always there when you needed her, the one who remembered your birthday, who checked in when you were going through something hard. She was, by all accounts, deeply connected to the people around her. And yet, she told me once that she had felt lonely for most of her adult life. Not lonely for company, lonely to be known. She said, "I can talk to anyone, but I don't know how to let anyone actually see me. I show up for everyone, but I don't know how to ask anyone to show up for me." She had become so good at being present for other people that she had no practice being present for herself. She had spent so many years managing her own feelings quietly, so as not to burden anyone, that she had almost lost access to what she was actually feeling. The loneliness wasn't coming from the world. It was coming from the distance between Naomi and herself. Many of us do what Naomi did. We show up. We perform. We present a version of ourselves that is easier for other people to receive, not because we are dishonest, but because we have learned somewhere along the way that certain parts of us are too much, too needy, too complicated, too sad, too intense. So we smooth those parts away. We become a cleaner, simpler version, one that doesn't require too much from anyone. And the result is that we are seen, but not truly seen. We are loved, but for a version of ourselves we had to construct. We are surrounded by people, and still alone in the deepest sense, because the loneliness is not about proximity. It is about being witnessed. To be witnessed is to be seen as you actually are, with the messy parts and the uncertain parts and the parts that don't make sense yet. To say something true about yourself and have someone hear it and not flinch. To be held in all your complicated reality by another person. That is what loneliness is reaching for. Not just company, connection. When we cannot find that connection, we reach for things that look like it. We scroll through other people's lives and call it staying connected. We fill our evenings with noise, podcasts, television, music, so we never have to sit in the quiet and feel the ache. We stay busy, so there is no space for the loneliness to surface. And these things work for a while. They take the edge off. They make the feeling bearable, but they do not touch the thing underneath. Because what the loneliness is asking for is not distraction. It is presence. Your presence. I want to name something that I think is worth saying directly. There is a difference between being alone and being with yourself. Most of us spend very little time actually with ourselves. We are technically alone sometimes, in the car, in the shower, lying in bed in the dark. But we fill those moments too. We put on something to listen to. We scroll. We replay conversations in our head. We plan the next day, solve the unsolved problem, rehearse the unspoken argument. We are very rarely simply quiet with ourselves, simply present, simply here. And yet that is the practice that the loneliness is asking for. Not a new friend, not a better relationship. A few minutes each day of actually being with the person who lives inside you, of turning toward your own inner life with the same quality of attention you give to everything else. This is the uncomfortable part of what I want to say tonight. A lot of the loneliness we feel, especially the deep kind, the existential kind, is actually loneliness from ourselves. We are cut off from our own inner life. We have been so busy managing, performing, surviving, that we have lost the thread back to who we actually are. And no amount of company can fix that. No number of friends, no busy social calendar, no relationship, however loving, can give you access to yourself. Only you can do that. The moon is always visible to itself, even on the nights when clouds cover it entirely, when we look up and see nothing. The moon is not confused about where it is. It has not lost itself. It is simply unseen for a moment. That is what I want for you. Not to be seen by more people. To be less unseen by yourself. I am not saying that other people don't matter. They matter enormously. But I am saying this. The quality of your connection with other people is shaped by the quality of your connection with yourself. When you know yourself, when you can sit quietly with your own feelings without immediately trying to manage them or push them away, you have something to offer other people. You can be truly present, not just performing presence. And when you learn to witness yourself, to hold your own experiences with gentleness and honesty, you become less afraid of being witnessed by others. Naomi figured this out slowly. She started with small things, sitting in the morning before the day began, not doing anything, just noticing what she was feeling, asking herself not what she needed to get done today, but how she actually was, writing things down, not for anyone to read, just to see her own thoughts in front of her. And something shifted, not overnight, slowly. But she said, I started to feel less lonely even before anything changed in my external life, because I was no longer alone inside myself. She became her own witness, and from that place, she found she could let other people in more easily, not because they had changed, because she had stopped performing quite so much. There was less to hide. I want to offer something practical, because I think one of the reasons we stay in the loneliness is that we wait for a dramatic moment of connection that rarely comes. We imagine that being truly known will happen in a single conversation. A big, honest, life-changing moment where we finally say all the true things and someone finally sees us completely. But that is not how it usually works. Being known happens in small moments, in the accumulation of small honesty. It happens when you answer, "How are you?" with something truer than fine. Not with everything, not with the full weight of what you are carrying, but with something real. I'm tired, actually. It's been a complicated week. That small truth, that small opening. It happens when you let someone see you in the middle of something difficult, instead of only after you have managed it and cleaned it up and packaged it into a story you can present. It happens when you ask for something you need, not dramatically, not in crisis, but simply, "I would love some company tonight. Can we talk? I've been feeling a little lost, and I think I need to say it out loud." These small honesty moments are frightening because they require you to be seen before you know if it is safe to be seen. But that is the only way it happens. Connection is not found. It is built in small, brave moments of showing the true thing and finding out that the person across from you did not flinch. And here is what I have noticed. When people begin to do this, They do not lose the relationships they were afraid to lose. They find that most of the people around them were also waiting for someone to go first, to drop the performance, to say something real, because the loneliness is rarely one-sided. The friend you think has everything together is probably also performing in their own way. The family member who always seems fine is probably also carrying something they haven't named yet. The colleague who looks confident in every meeting is probably also uncertain in the mornings. We are all lonelier than we look, and the gap between us, the distance that the loneliness lives in, is sometimes smaller than we think. One small, honest moment can cross it. Naomi found this. After she started practicing being a witness to herself, sitting with her own feelings, noticing her own needs, she began slowly to let people in. Not all at once, with one person first, a friend she trusted, who she told simply, "I've been feeling disconnected. I don't know why. I wanted to say it to someone." The friend said, "Me too. I've been feeling that way for months." That was it. That was the crossing. It did not fix everything, but something changed between them. A layer of performance came off, and the friendship that had always been warm became something deeper. Something that could hold more than just the easy things. You have people around you who are waiting for the same thing. One small, honest moment. That is all it takes to begin. There's something I want to say to you directly before we close. Dear friend, I think you know this feeling. The one I've been describing tonight. The room full of noise and the quiet ache at its center. The conversations that skimmed the surface. The feeling of being surrounded and somehow still unreachable. I want you to know that this does not mean something is wrong with you. It means you are human. It means you are reaching for something real, for true connection, not just proximity. For being known, not just seen. And I want to say something else. The loneliness you feel is not proof that you are unlovable. It is not proof that you are too much, or not enough, or that there is something in you that keeps connection away. Sometimes it is simply proof that you have not yet found your people. The ones who can hold your full self without flinching. They exist. I believe that. And sometimes, often, it is proof that you have not yet found yourself. That somewhere in the business of living, you lost the thread back to your own inner voice, your own feelings, your own very specific, irreplaceable way of being in the world. That thread can be found again. Start tonight. Sit with yourself for 5 minutes. No phone, no distraction, just you and whatever is here. You might find it uncomfortable at first. You might find it very quiet. But in that quiet, something is waiting. A version of you that has not been performing, that has not been managing, that is just here. Begin there, with so much care. Moon. 3 small things before tonight ends. Loneliness is not always about being alone. Sometimes it is about being unknown, even in a full room. That loneliness is real, and it has a name, and you are not strange for feeling it. A lot of loneliness is loneliness from yourself. When you lose access to your own inner life, when you spend years performing and managing without ever just being, you become a stranger to yourself. And that estrangement is lonely. Coming home to yourself is the first step, and you cannot fix deep loneliness with more company. But you can begin to heal it by becoming your own witness. By seeing yourself honestly, holding yourself gently, and allowing the people you love to see a little more of who you actually are. This is English with Moon. And this place, this quiet hour we share together, is one of the small ways I try to say, you are not alone in what you are feeling. Someone else has felt it too. Someone else is feeling it right now. If tonight's episode felt true for you, send it to someone you love. Sometimes the greatest gift is just letting someone know you were thinking of them. I wonder if tonight's episode named something you have felt but never said out loud. If you would like, leave it in the comments. I read every one. A new episode arrives soon. Until then, be gentle with yourself. Come home to yourself. And remember that the ache of loneliness is not weakness. It is the heart asking for something real. Good night, friends.